going on YouTube, and welcome to my YouTube channel. It is Jay Lay here, bringing you guys a one-round 2023 mock draft. And on my channel, it's basically going to be mock drafts, draft coverage, fantasy football stuff, football, free agency, trades, all that stuff. It's going to be a football channel. I love football. I'm a major Patriots fan, so probably a little more Patriots content than anything else, but still, for the most part, just football content, college football content once college season rolls around. I'm a big Ohio State fan. So basically, yeah, this channel is just going to be football content, hoping to upload a couple times a week and just whenever the major announcements and signings and trades and all that are. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get to the mock draft. Starting off with pick 1, Panthers traded up from pick 9 with the Bears, and I think they did to get C.J. Stroud. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. Frank Reich and C.J. Stroud hit it off at the Ohio State Pro Day. C.J. Stroud is exactly what Frank Reich looks for in a quarterback. I don't think there's too much to talk about, so pick 1, Panthers go C.J. Stroud. Pick 2, Bryce Young falls to the Texans' lap. If the Panthers go Bryce Young at 1, the Texans go C.J. Stroud at 2, so it's basically vice versa, and whoever goes first, the other will go second. So Bryce Young, I like Bryce Young. I think he's the more overall good quarterback and the more athletic quarterback, but C.J. Stroud just is such a good pocket passing quarterback, and I think he has very high upside scrambling and outside of the pocket as well. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. And like I said, I think Frank Reich is looking for more a C.J. Stroud type quarterback. So CJ at 1, Bryce Young at 2. Pick 3, we have the Cardinals. And I know a lot of people are saying they're going to trade down, but I don't really see a team that's willing to trade up that much for a quarterback right now. I know the Colts often get mocked just to jump in front of any team. Some people say the Lions, the Seahawks, the Falcons, the Raiders, the Titans. I don't really see any of those teams realistically trading up to 3. I think it would be a good deal for the Cardinals if they wanted to trade down a couple spots. I don't see that happening, though. I don't see the market being big enough for one of these teams to want to trade up. So I think the Cardinals stay at 3 and choose the best defensive player for them. And I think it's either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. I think there is a shot they go with Jalen Carter to get some help on the interior after J.J. Watt retired. I don't see that being mocked to them enough, and I'll probably do that in a mock draft. For this one, we'll go Will Anderson, though. They're rebuilding the defense, and I think he's the perfect player to build it around. But like I said, I think there is a shot they go Jalen Carter at pick 3. 4, we have the Colts, and I think they go Anthony Richardson. It's a no-brainer between him and Will Levis. I think it's exactly what Shane Steichen is looking for in a quarterback. You can almost kind of rebuild Anthony Richardson to be like Jalen Hurts. So I think give him some time, give him some developmental years, and Anthony Richardson is going to be a beast in Shane Steichen's offense in Indianapolis. So Shane Steichen taking Anthony Richardson. I like it. I like Will Levis too. But again, Anthony Richardson is just so athletic, such a freak of nature quarterback. I don't think Shane Steichen can pass up on him. Number 5, we have the Seahawks, and it comes down to me between Tyree Wilson and Jalen Carter. I do think they need help on the edge, and I think Tyree Wilson would be the perfect guy for that. Has very high upside. But I just think they can't pass on Jalen Carter. And they've been known to take some kind of gambles on players who have had off-the-field issues before. So I don't think Jalen Carter's is an issue, really. And really, the biggest thing they need right now is some help on the interior D-line. They got some help in free agency. I think Jalen Carter would kind of complete that D-line, and I think he's kind of that final piece they're looking for on that front 7. So Jalen Carter at 5. And again, I could see them going Will Anderson, but I think Jalen Carter is so good, it's impossible to pass up on him. Next up, we have the Lions at pick 6, and I think it comes down to either Tyree Wilson or a cornerback, whether it be Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon. And I think they go Tyree Wilson. That D-line still needs a lot of help, and I think Tyree Wilson is so explosive on the edge. I think he would really help, especially with Aiden Hutchinson. Pair them two together, and that would be a dominant force. I think they still need help in the secondary for sure, but I think Tyree Wilson being there at 6 is just hard to pass up on. And like I said, they do need help. Their secondary did improve a lot this offseason, but I think they can wait till at least pick 18, maybe even round 2, before they start looking at some cornerbacks. So Tyree Wilson at pick 6 to the Lions. For number 7, we have the Raiders. I already picked Christian Gonzalez on accident. That's who I have them taking, though. I know Will Levis is on the board. I think they pass. I don't think their biggest need right now is a developmental quarterback, and especially in the first round at pick 7. Ideally, it'd be nice to get him, to develop him, but like I said, they have such bigger needs, and I think the biggest need right now is their secondary. You're in a division where you're going against Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes 3 times a year. You need a lockdown secondary, and last season their secondary was pretty awful. I think Christian Gonzalez is a major upgrade to that secondary. You know, he's big, he's physical, plays the ball, he's aggressive. I think it's really all you look for in a cornerback. So Christian Gonzalez at 7. And again, it'd be nice to get Will Levis, but it's just comparing him to getting an impact player now and Christian Gonzalez. I can't pass up on Christian Gonzalez at 7 to the Raiders. So Christian Gonzalez 7 to the Raiders. I accidentally picked it again, but Nolan Smith at 8 to the Falcons. Now, in most mock drafts, I will do trades, and I have the Falcons trading down in a lot of mock drafts. This one is no trades. I think I forgot to mention that. So if they stay here at pick 8, I think they go down and they take Nolan Smith. He played in Georgia. There were rumors that they want to keep him in Georgia, meaning they want him to play in Atlanta. I think he's a great edge rusher. They need help on the edge. It makes sense. Again, I think for the most part, it would make sense too if they wanted to trade down, unless they want to take Will Levis and he falls. But if Will Levis is there at pick 8, it would make sense to me that they trade down with a team like the Buccaneers. Maybe, I don't know, just a team that wants to take Will Levis, jump up. I think the Falcons would be the perfect team to trade down with. So it makes sense. This one, like I said, is no trade. So they go Nolan Smith, who I think you're getting great value out of Nolan Smith. So it's nothing to complain about. But like I said, I think they could also get great value out of getting a lot of draft capital. At 9, we have the Bears. And for this one, I know a lot of people have the wing tackle. I do too. I've seen a lot of people say they go Paris Johnson. I would like them to either take Darnell Wright or Broderick Jones in this one, just because both of those tackles can play left and right tackle, so you can move them around as they need to. I like Broderick Jones. He's not my offensive tackle 1, but like I said, when you have a very struggling O-line and you can move a tackle from left to right tackle as you want, I think that's a major addition, and I think that's more important than having let's say, a better left tackle but can't play right tackle versus still a very good left tackle, but you can also move him to right tackle and vice versa if need be. So Broderick Jones, again, I could also see them going Peter Skoronski, very versatile as well. You can kick him into guard. Darnell Wright. I mean, anyone. I just like Broderick Jones, but you can have them going anyone you want. Next, we got the Eagles, and I actually have them taking a safety in Brian Branch. I haven't seen this mock to them a lot, and I'm kind of surprised. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and they need to replace him. Brian Branch, versatile, smart player, mainly in the nickel, but they can kick him out wide, so I think he's a perfect fit for the Eagles. And I get it, you could wait till pick 30 to try to grab him if you really want him. I just don't see some of these teams passing up on him, so I think you go ahead and snag him at 10. I wouldn't be surprised if they did go Kalijah Kinsey at 10, Lucas Van Ness get some more help on the front line, but to me, Brian Branch just makes a lot of sense. Like I said, they lost CJ, so they want to replace him. Brian Branch, by far the best safety, versatile, can play in the slot. You can kick him out to the outside, so I think he would be a major upgrade to that secondary. And yeah, Brian Branch at 10 to the Eagles. Number 11, you have the Titans, and I have them passing on Will Levis. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, how do you pass on Will Levis? But the problem is, I don't even think they need a quarterback. I think you let Malik Willis develop for at least another year, because the problem is that offense is so horrible. Their O-line is one of the worst. They have a very bad receiving core. They have a terrible receiving core, horrible O-line. How are you going to take a quarterback when you already have a second-year quarterback? It just doesn't make sense for them to go quarterback. It also doesn't make sense to me for them to go receiver here, because like I said, when you don't have a good, strong O-line that can protect your quarterback, there's no point in going quarterback. There's no point in going receiver until you can get a strong O-line to protect your quarterback. I think Peter Skoronski is the answer to that. He can play tackle. He can also kick into guard. He can probably even play center if need be. He can play just about any position on the O-line. And like I said, when you have an O-line that is terrible, that needs a lot of help, having a guard that can kick in, or excuse me, having a tackle that can kick into guard and having, him play tackle, center, whatever, just having him play every position you need him to, I think that's very important, very helpful. I believe he would probably start at left tackle, but, like I said, you can also kick him into left or right guard. So Peter Skoronski would definitely help that O-line. And like I said, it'd be nice for them to get a guy like Quentin Johnson or Jackson Smith-Njigba, but they need to fix that O-line first. And I think Peter Skoronski is a major step in the right direction. At pick 12, we have the Texans. Now, I would not be surprised if they went with someone like Kalijah Kinsey or Lucas Van Ness to get some help on the D-line. I have them going receiver, though. I think it makes sense. Now, I know they got John Mechie, and I think he's going to be a star. He came off of an injury last year. I think they go and get their slot receiver in Jackson Smith-Njigba, my wide receiver 1 in this class. You can also kick him out to the outside if you want. Very, very polished route runner, great hands. And he doesn't have the speed that you would like necessarily. He's not super explosive, but just overall, like I said, a polished route runner. And he's elusive. I mean, I know his speed isn't the best, like I said, but he's still an elusive receiver. So I think Jackson Smith-Njigba with Bryce Young, who we took at pick 2, would be a great combo. And then John Mechie when he gets back from injury as well. I think that would be a great receiving core, and that would help Bryce Young just develop very quickly. So pick 13, we have the Jets, and this is an interesting one. Normally, I would mock them to trade with the Packers, and this would be their trade. I also think since they traded Elijah Moore for that second, they could just give the Packers 42 and 43. It's a really confusing thing. Who knows? For this one, obviously, there is no trade, so they're going to have the 13th overall pick. And I could see them going with someone like Lucas Van Ness to get some help on the D-line. I have them going Paris Johnson, though, getting a lockdown left tackle. Pair him up with right tackle Micah Becton, and that is a lethal duo. Kind of solidify this O-line. And whoever your starting quarterback is, whether you trade for Aaron Rodgers and give up your 2 seconds, I mean, that would be great. You get him a lot of protection. If it's Zach Wilson again for one more year before the stacked quarterback class next year, who knows? Whoever the quarterback is, though, you want to protect him and give him as much protection as possible. Paris Johnson locking down that O-line, I think that would be. And Paris Johnson, you can kick him into guard too if need be. Like I said, he'd probably start at left tackle, but you could put him into guard as well. So Paris Johnson, I like it. Again, I could see them going defender here like Lucas Van Ness, but Paris Johnson just makes too much sense. 14, we have the Patriots, and I hate being a Patriots fan during the draft because they always draft so weird. Last year, they traded back with the Chiefs and took Cole Strange, who was projected to go in the 4th round. Now, I love Cole Strange. He played great last year. He's going to continue to develop, but you just never know what the Patriots are going to do. They don't think like any other team when it comes to the draft. Ideally, I would love for them to get Quentin Johnson if he's on the board here. You got your slot receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster. Hopefully, you can get someone else like Jerry Jeudy or DeAndre Hopkins. But I would still love for them to get one more receiver, Quentin Johnson, an alpha receiver. He can do it all, run after the catch. He can be a deep threat. He's fast. He's elusive. I would love for them to get Quentin Johnson. I know there's rumors that Mac Jones might get traded. I don't see that happening. I think that would be a major mistake if they do. I think you need to give him as many weapons as possible and get your wide receiver 1 in Quentin Johnson. 15, we have the Packers, and whether they trade Aaron Rodgers or not, they're going to need help at tight end since they lost Robert Tonyan. I'm very high on them taking Kincaid here. He's a receiving threat. Great tight end. My tight end 1 in the class. You know, I could also see them going someone like Lucas Van Ness or Kalijah Kinsey to get help on the D-line. Their D-line was pretty awful last year, so that wouldn't surprise me. And I do think the depth at tight end is very good in the 2nd and 3rd round as well. But at the same time, it is Dalton Kincaid, in my opinion, like I said, the tight end 1. And I don't think you want to miss him just because he is such a good receiving threat. And if it is Jordan Love, which that seems like it's going to be the case, that he's going to be the starter, whether Aaron Rodgers leaves or whatever, you want to get Jordan Love as many weapons as possible. You have Allen Lazard, you have Romeo Doubs, you have a good backfield. Now you want to get him a tight end where he's elusive, he's a route runner, he's a receiving threat. And I think Dalton Kincaid, like I said, they could go defender here and wait till the 2nd or 3rd round to get a tight end, but I'm just very high on Kincaid, and I don't think you want to miss that opportunity. Next, at pick 16, we have the Commanders. Now, they say they need a quarterback. I think it's Sam Howell season. You give that guy a chance to develop and, grow. I think he's going to be great. So, a couple of things I would be very surprised if they passed on Devin Witherspoon if he's still available at pick 16. They need help in the secondary, even Joey Porter possibly. I also think they need help on the interior, though. Guard is their 2nd biggest need right now. That's what PFF says. And when you have a young developmental quarterback coming in to start, whether it be him or Jacoby Brissett, you want to protect them as much as possible. So I could see them trading down and taking Osiris Torrance. I don't think that you take him at 16. Like I said, you could trade down with a team, but for this one, there are no trades. So in a normal mock draft, I could have them trading down. This one, I'm not. And I think you take the best player available that you need, Devin Witherspoon, my cornerback too. So I think that would be a major addition to that secondary if you can get him. I could also see them going Joey Porter. Joey Porter, a smart player. But it just depends. Will Levis, even if he's there, I don't see them taking him. It is Sam Howell's turn. And they already have Jacoby Brissett as well. I like Sam Howell. I think you start him. Either way, though, I think they either go cornerback, whether it be Joey Porter or Devin Witherspoon. If there's not a lot of depth there, then you could trade down. But either way, I think it's a win that they got Devin Witherspoon. 17, the Steelers, they have upgraded that O-line a lot this offseason. Now, I think it comes down to either Joey Porter or Darnell Wright. Joey Porter's dad did play for the Steelers, so I think that would it would only be right. I think they could also use a tackle, though, and I like Darnell Wright. I'm very high on him. They have upgraded that interior O-line a lot this offseason, and Kenny Pickett going into second year, you want to protect him as much as possible so we can have that breakout second year. Darnell Wright can play left and right tackle, and I think he would really be that final piece of the puzzle for the Steelers O-line, and next year it would help Kenny Pickett as much as possible. Pick 18 I already chose on an accident, but I have the Lions going Joey Porter. I think you could go someone like Michael Mayer here if he's still available. I know Will Levis is still there. People want the Lions to take Will Levis. I don't see them doing that again. Jared Goff is their guy, and they have bigger needs. They have upgraded their secondary tremendously this offseason. They got Cam Sutton, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I think they need really one more cornerback to kind of solidify it. Joey Porter's that guy. And now, again, you could take Michael Mayer here. You need a tight end. Maybe even like a guy like Kalijah Kinsey to get help on that D-line. Like I said, though, for me, just makes sense they go ahead and solidify that secondary. So Joey Porter, pick 18 to the Lions. Pick 19, we have the Bucks, and this is where Will Levis finally stops falling. They go Will Levis at pick 19. I think you could also look at someone like Anton Harrison. They lost both their tackles in free agency, so that is going to be a need in the draft. But I think Will Levis falling at 19, you don't have to trade up for him, would be ideal. He can sit behind either Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask if he wins the starting job. I would imagine it's going to be Baker Mayfield, though. Let him develop for a year or two and then put Will Levis in at quarterback. And the NFC South is a pretty bad division right now. It's not super competitive, so you could even start Will Levis in some of these games. The Bucks, I don't know. It'd be interesting. I could see them starting Will Levis midway through the season and seeing how he does. Because like I said, the NFC South is pretty bad right now. So it'll be interesting. I would imagine he sits behind Baker Mayfield for at least half the season, though, and develops. But either way, Will Levis at pick 19 is a steal for the Buccaneers. Pick 20, I already mocked it on accident, but I have the Seahawks going Lucas Van Ness. I'm not incredibly high on Lucas Van Ness, but I think if he went to Seattle, it'd be a great fit for him. We already went D lineman at Jalen Carter at 5, so I think if you can get Lucas Van Ness on the edge, which they need a lot of help on the edge, that would make their D-line one of the best, in my opinion. And then you can focus on maybe getting a wide receiver 3, upgrading your interior, maybe your secondary. So a lot of things they can focus on later, but I think your D-line is solidified. You don't need to even look at it the rest of the draft. And Lucas Van Ness with Jalen Carter would be a dominant force, as well as the help they got in free agency. 21, we have the Chargers. Now, I know it says wide receivers their biggest need. I don't think it's their 21 overall need. I think cornerback is. I know they have J.C. Jackson. They have on paper, they have a pretty good secondary. In reality, though, last season it was not very good. And that AFC division, AFC West, is only improving. Kind of like what I said with the Raiders, you need to get a lockdown cornerback. The Raiders, Christian Gonzalez would be their cornerback 1. If the Chargers go Deontay Banks, he would be their cornerback 2 behind J.C. Jackson. And I think that would be a lethal combo. Like I said, they need cornerbacks. They need a lockdown secondary. They're going against Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and even Jimmy Garoppolo and guys like Devontae Adams 6 times a season. They need a good secondary. Like I said, last season it was not. Hopefully Deontay Banks would kind of be that missing piece they've been looking for. And like I said, learn behind J.C. Jackson to kind of make it a lockdown secondary. 22, we have the Ravens. Now, either way, whether they traded Lamar or not, they need to get a receiver. Their receiving core is horrible. And this one will just say they kept Lamar. They need to get a receiver. It comes between Jordan Addison or Zay Flowers, in my opinion. I like Zay Flowers. Again, you could go Jordan Addison. I just like Zay Flowers. He's so fast, so elusive. He's a deep threat. Really what you kind of look for in a outside alpha receiver. He's not very big, and he did have a drop problem in college, but I mean, that's something you can fix once you get to the NFL. Again, you could go Jordan Addison, polished out runner, great receiver as well. I like Zay Flowers. Either way, though, you need to get a receiver for the Ravens. Next, we have the Vikings, and I have them going. Now, they need a lot of help on defense, but I think a bigger need is receiver. They lost their slot receiver in Adam Thielen. I like Josh Downs to the Vikings. He can play slot primarily, but you can also kick him outside and have him be a deep threat. I like Josh Downs. It makes sense. Like I said, they could go Jordan Addison as well, but Josh Downs is just a pure slot receiver, but you can also kick him out. He's very versatile. And then, like I said, you do need a lot of help on defense. I could see them going someone like Brian Brzee or Miles Murphy, but I think getting that slot receiver, pair him with Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, it would kind of solidify that offense, and then the rest of the draft, you can focus on your defense. 24, we have the Jags, and I have them going Osiris Torrance, by far the best guard in the class. Did not allow a single sack last year at Florida. They could go DB, could go cornerback here. again, it's just not very depth. You could go Cam Smith. I like Cam Smith. Emmanuel Forbes, you could go. But you have Trevor Lawrence. You want to help him as much as possible. He had a breakout year last year, and I think if you can get O'Cyrus Torrence and plug him at left guard, pair him with Brandon Sheriff at right guard, it would be a very solid O-line. You still need help probably on the outside and maybe at center, but O'Cyrus Torrence would be a major upgrade and help Trevor Lawrence develop even more in his third year. Pick 25, we have the Giants, and I've mocked them going safety in some drafts if Brian Branch is there, but I kind of just forgot I took him at pick 10 to the Eagles. So if Brian Branch isn't there, they do need help at safety. They have upgraded that offense a lot. There's really two things. I could see them going inside offensive lineman if O'Cyrus Torrence is there. He's not. He just got stolen by the Jags. So I think you look at this, and I think seeing Jordan Addison there still on the board is a no-brainer. Like I said, they have upgraded that offense a lot, but you could still use a true wide receiver one. Addison, who's a deep threat. He's a polished route runner. He's elusive. He's smooth. It just makes too much sense if he's there at pick 25. And even if it's a guy like Zay Flowers or Josh Downs, even if one of those guys is there, I don't know. I don't see them passing on someone like that. So they get their true wide receiver one in Jordan Addison. Cowboys and Bijan Robinson, no-brainer. They franchise tag Tony Pollard, and I think Bijan is an instant plug-and-play player, generational talent, like I said. If he's not there, if a team like the Chargers snag him, like let's say the Chargers got rid of Austin Eckler and they snag Bijan, my second option would be them going tight end. They lost Dalton Schultz. Michael Mayer's still on the board, so I think he would be a nice addition as well. But like I said, you look, even if Bijan is on the board, but they still want to get a tight end, you look at the depth for the tight ends here. I could see them getting someone like Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta. I like Darnell Washington as well. It just makes sense they go Bijan. There's no running back that compares to Bijan Robinson versus tight ends where there's still a lot of depth. There's still a lot of running back depth as well, but just none that compare to Bijan. So they get their generational talent at Bijan Robinson at pick 26. Either go cornerback. They could also go interior O-line. That O-line was pretty horrible last year. Not a lot of people talk about it. For this one, we will go cornerback. I like, and again, there's not a lot of depth here. A lot of the main cornerbacks are off, like Deontay Banks. I like Cam Smith, though. He's aggressive. He plays on the ball. And he would kind of help solidify that defense. So, again, I could see them going someone like Steve Avila here, even Luke Whippler. They need help interior a lot. But I think Cam Smith, you want to get another DB. And it just makes sense they go Cam Smith at pick 27. 28, you have the Bengals. And they need a tight end very bad. Michael Mayer still on the board. They also need help on the interior D-line, and they did get Irv Smith, who I think is a very underrated tight end. When he can stay healthy, he can be a very dangerous tight end. So I think they wait. I think seeing Brian Brzee and Kalijah Kinsey on the board, you can't pass up on one of them. Kalijah Kinsey, my interior D lineman number 2 in the class behind, I forgot his name, but behind Jalen Carter. I forgot his name, but Kalijah Kinsey is my D lineman number 2. And they need help on the interior. And like I said, you can always go tight end in the later rounds. I'm not a big fan on taking tight ends in the first round. I had the Packers taking Kincaid just because I think he's the best in the class, and I think he's such a perfect fit. And I could see them going tight end if Mayer is still on the board. But like I said, they did get Irv Smith, where they can at least hold off on tight end until like the second or third round. Seeing Kalijah Kinsey there at pick 28 would be a steal to get help on that interior D-line. Or Myles Murphy, that's an aging D-line, and they do need help on the interior D-line, and Brian Brzee is very good. Brian Brzee. Michael Mayer still on the board. They need a tight end. They need help on the interior D-line. On the interior. Well, they need help on the interior D-line, but as well as the interior O-line. Steve Avila, I think you can wait, take a guard in the later rounds. It just comes down to, do you want Michael Mayer and, add another key piece to that offense that is looking like it's going to be pretty good, or do you want to go Brian Brzee? And for this one, I'm going to have them go Brian Brzee. It just makes sense. They need a lot of help on that interior. And again, I could very easily see them going Michael Mayer, getting Derek Carr another weapon for that already looking very good offense. But I think Brian Brzee on the board at pick 29 is a steal. It just makes sense to me. But like I said, Michael Mayer would not be a surprise at all. Pick 29, we have the Eagles, and I think they saw the 2 D linemen fall off the board. I think it makes it 3 with Mozzie Smith. They lost Javon Hargrave in free agency. I think Mozzie Smith can be an instant replace. He is a very big, very physical D lineman. Howie Roseman loves his defensive linemen. That D lineman class, that front seven was great last year, had a record number of sacks, and I think they keep it up with Mozzie Smith, an instant plug and play for Javon Hargrave. Finally, at pick 31, we have the Chiefs. I think normally they would go wide receiver, but all the receivers I think worthy of going first round are off the board. Josh Downs was the last one. He went to the Vikings. I think Josh Downs would be a nice addition to the Chiefs, but he's not on the board. So I think you're looking at either a guy like Anton Harrison. The Chiefs lost their left tackle, so I think Anton Harrison would be a good replacement. Like I said, there's no receivers left on the board really that I would take in the first round. So I'm looking really at defense now, and I like Myles Murphy here to get some explosiveness on the edge. Like I said, all three of the D linemen worthy taking just went off the board. So I like Myles Murphy, get some explosive young talent on the edge. And I like Myles Murphy. If one of these three, Kalijah Kinsey, Brian Brzee, or Mozzie Smith, were still on the board, I'd go one of them. But since there's not, I think you look to the edge, take Myles Murphy. I like it. You get some youth on the edge. Well, there you guys have it. The first mock draft and my first video I've done on YouTube for my football channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Not a crazy mock draft. It was pretty standard. I've made a ton of mock drafts, probably like 100 mock drafts. So I might just make videos on some of the ones I've made. A lot of them are pretty weird. A lot of trade ups, a lot of weird trades, a lot of teams passing up. I'll probably do one where the Texans do not take a quarterback at pick 2. They have a defensive-minded head coach, DeMeco Ryans. Let's not forget that. I think 99% overall they go Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, whoever's available. I have some weird mock drafts I've done that I would love to share with you guys, make some videos on, which I definitely will in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, though. And yeah, I probably will get a face cam as well. Sorry if the quality of this video is not very good. I just wanted to hurry up and get a video out. I'm going to get a face cam, make the videos more entertaining, make the videos better quality. Like I said, I just rushed this one kind of because I wanted to hurry up and get a video out. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, make sure to like and subscribe. But like I said, this is a football channel, college football, pro football, draft coverage, free agency signings, trades, NFL news, all of that crazy stuff will be covered on the channel. Hopefully a lot of uploads per week. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Jay Lay. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.